Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start the class with the prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitra Varenayam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto ma sadgamya, tamso ma jyotirgamya, mrityurma amritam gamya. Om sehna bhavatu, sehna bhunatu, seviryam karvahvai, tejasvi navadhitamastu, ma vidvishavahi. Om shanti, shanti, shanti. Om. Yog Darshan, chapter 2. Which is called a Sadhana Pad. In our last class, we saw how beautifully Rishi Patanjali, in the verse number 19, explained the levels of manifestation. He used the word alinga, linggamatralinggani, णवशष, and visheshavishesha. So I was telling you that vishesh means something which we can identify. That means our mind, our sense organs, our action organs, and Panchabhut. Those are all called Vishesh, identifiable. Then what is a Vishesh? Which cannot be identified. We cannot put our finger on it. Ahankar, like a asmita. 5 tanmatras, that means the 5 subtle elements. Sound, touch, form, taste, smell. Those are called tanmatras. So these are all a Vishesh. Then what is a lingamatra? Lingamatra means only referable. That is a field of intelligence, awareness, which is called buddhi. See, mind is Vishesh, buddhi is lingamatra. And then comes a ling, beyond all references. That is a prakriti, the primordial nature. So prakriti, when it's not fluctuating, prakriti. Okay, so a lingamatra, a vishesh, and vishesh. This we learned from that sutra number 19. Let's start the class with the sutra number 20 today. Drashta drishimatrah shuddhopi pratyayanupashyah. Drashta. Drashta means the seer. Dekhne wala. Drashta. Drishi, the seeing, the power of seeing. Matraha, only. Shuddho, pure, unalloyed. Api means even though. Pratyaya, recognition, understanding. Anupashyah. Anu means that which follows. Anu. Pashya means that which can be seen. So that means Anupashya is the one whose perception or understanding is dependent on the perception or understanding of the buddhi. In other words, one who sees exactly what buddhi sees. Anupashya. So the power of seeing itself is the seer. It is pure. Yet its perception follows what has been perceived by buddhi. So in other words, there is a little mirror of buddhi, and through the buddhi, the seer is seeing. See, whether we use the word consciousness or the seer, its power of seeing are one and the same. So the knower and the power of knowing are identical. So essentially, consciousness is pure, unalloyed. It's not subject to any distortion. But due to our discrimination or identification with the objective world, because this world is made out of avishesha and vishesha, its ability to see and know becomes compromised. And that's why the perceptions are distorted. It's a strong identification if the mind makes it feel as though it is the mind. It's a strong identification with the senses, and the body makes it feel as though it is the senses and the body. And this is the case with most of us. And the scriptures, they keep on reminding us that we are not the body, we are not the senses, we are not the mind, we are not the ego. But still we rarely experience ourselves as different from these aspects. Because we are able to perceive only through our body and senses. We are able to think only through our mind and identify only through our ego. So the seer, Purusha, or pure consciousness experiences things the way they are presented. By the body, by the senses, mind, and ego. So it's colored. So in other words, despite its essential purity, or soul's power and process of seeing, knowing, experiencing, they just become dependent on how and what the body, mind, and senses see, know, and experience. So it becomes dependent upon them. And when we free our consciousness, our soul, from this dependency, that is called moksha. That's why it's called freedom. Freedom from the lower rasa. It's called liberation. That's what the whole sadhana is about. We have to learn to see ourselves separate from the body, senses, mind, ego. That's why it's also called kevalya. Keval, only. So according to this sutra, our field of buddhi contains all the tools and means to enable the consciousness to see itself directly. Disidentify with the objective world and restore its purity. But as long as we are caught up in the cycle of samsara, as long as we see only what buddhi sees, for all intents and purposes, its understanding, feeling, and experiences are in exact proportion to the purity of the buddhi. Nothing more. So knowing one's self means knowing one's buddhi. Discovering one's self means discovering one's buddhi. That's why in the mantras, we pray to God, heighten our buddhi. Make our buddhi pure. So it is important to remember that buddhi means the field of prakriti illuminated by the light of consciousness. And the field of consciousness that has been accepted and embraced by prakriti. In the next sutra, we will see that Rishi Patanjali is making it even further clear for us. He says, buddhi is a jiva. The consciousness that has made buddhi its abode is neither similar to nor totally dissimilar from buddhi. So enlightenment simply refers to the enlightenment of a buddhi, the jiva. Because in this state of enlightenment, we are able to see ourselves and even the rest of the world very clearly. There's no distortion. We are able to distinguish light from the darkness, lasting joy from the short-lived pleasures, and ultimately the immortal self from fleeting objects and experiences. So in the next verse he says, Tadarth eva drishiyasyatma. Tat means that. That means the seer, consciousness. Or more precisely, you can say that the consciousness fallen in the cycle of sansar, or individual jiva. Arth means purpose, ev means only, drishasya. Drishasya is the objective world. All worldly objects and the experiences pertaining to them. That is drishasya. Atma, the self, the essence, the core. The essence of the objective world lies in fulfilling the purpose of that. Artha. We got to remember what we learned earlier, that there are two categories of Purusha. Special and ordinary. When we say special Purusha, we are referring to one who has never been touched by the 5 afflictions, or the karmas, or the fruits of karmas. And this special Purusha is beyond time, space, and laws of cause and effect. And in this special Purusha lies the unsurpassed seed of omniscience. And the power of seeing in this special Purusha is not smeared by ignorance. Its ability to see and know itself, and its ability to see and know both the unmanifest and the manifest world, is unrestricted, unobstructed, and even undistorted. This special Purush is ever enlightened, ever free. Patanjali calls this special Purush Ishvara, the guru of all previous gurus, the very source of the knowledge. The objective world serves no purpose for Ishwar. Remember that. The second category of Purusha, the ordinary Purusha, are under the influence of the 5 afflictions, avidya, asmita, rag, dvesh, abhinivesh. They are under the influence of the karmas, as well as the fruits of karmas. Their ability to see and know themselves and their ability to see and know the objective world is limited. They are caught in the cycle of sansara. They are in bondage. That's why they need liberation. There's a life of pain. For them, this world exists. And the objective world, the body, senses, mind, ego, and other worldly objects, along with the experiences, they have one purpose: to help these individuals find fulfillment and liberation. These are called jivs, individual souls. So this sutra, sutra number 21, explains that the objective world enables a jiva to realize their pristine state of consciousness. Tadarth eva drishiyasyatma. They can see themselves and the objective world clearly. They can even become fully established in the knowledge of their identity as a pure seer, the consciousness. Life in this world is an opportunity. This world has everything we need to achieve. The twofold goal, the bhog, fulfillment, and upvarg, liberation. We learned about this earlier. While navigating through the vast domain of sansar, we can fulfill our desires. That means we can just let go of the desires. Fulfillment of the desires means no desires left. That's why we are here. Because otherwise, remaining desires, they bring us back to this sansar again and again. The good desires will take us to good place. Bad desires, they'll take us to bad place. And no desires will take us back home. So there are two ways to attain freedom: fulfill our desires or renounce them. Normally, we prefer the first option. But we know that objects of all the desires imaginable are infinite. Even though life is filled with all the tools for fulfilling desires, body, mind, senses, but still desires keep on multiplying. So that's why it's said that those who perform their actions wisely and skillfully attain freedom by fulfilling their desires. So wisdom has to be there. But those who lack wisdom and skillfulness pursue their desires only to be consumed by the desires. They get further entangled in the cycle of sansar. So choice is ours. Do we want to complete this cycle or do we want to go back again and again? And it's not very as discouraging as it sounds. Because God has given us the power of discernment as human beings. This power of discernment, which is called vivek, is an inherent attribute of buddhi. You can call it a discriminating faculty. It's right within us. And the main objective of yoga sadhana is to sharpen this faculty. train our body, mind, and senses to heed its wisdom. The more we use our power of discernment, more the objective world unveils its hidden bounty of bhog and upwork. Then you'll see that every action begins to contribute to the clarity and purity of mind. Every action will bring you closer to the understanding of who you really are. What is your relationship in this world? Why did you come here? One day this understanding becomes conclusive. We are the seer, the very power of seeing. This is when the world and life in the world has served its purpose. This is when, in relation to the one who has reached this conclusive understanding, the worlds come to an end. That means there is no need for this world. So whether or not the world comes to an end, because world is still there for those other people who are still caught in the cycle of sansar. But for this yogi, the purpose has been finished. And in the next verse, he further explains it. Kritarthan prati nashtam apyanashtan tadanyasadharannatvat. Kritartham. Krit means done, accomplished. Arth means purpose, goal, aim. So the one whose purpose is fulfilled, Kritartham. Prati means toward. Nashtam means destroyed, finished. It's like a complete halt. Api means also. Anashtam, not destroyed, not finished. Tat means that. Anya means other. Sadharannatvat, for the reason of being common. Common means not special, did not do the sadhana. In relation to the one whose purpose is fulfilled, the objective world is destroyed. It doesn't exist anymore. But in relation to others, it's not destroyed. For the objective world is common to all Purushas. So this is kind of a follow-up to the previous sutra. Patanjali is telling us that as soon as we see our core being, our purpose for being in the world is accomplished. We come to find fulfillment and freedom. We find fulfillment by discovering the desirable and undesirable qualities of the objects of our experiences, and we immerse ourselves in the reality. We find freedom by discovering the essential nature of the experiencer. This phenomenal world definitely provides the tools and means to accomplish this. So a supremely purified mind, or more precisely, you should say buddhi, is the finest of these tools. So once this purpose is accomplished, the world in which we were born in is withdrawn into buddhi tattva. And buddhi tattva is absorbed into mahat tattva, where it came from. So once the purpose of bhog and upvarg is accomplished, the objective world is no longer seen by the Purusha. Due to the destruction of its essence, the world is destroyed, but it is definitely not destroyed for others. So that's what he's trying to tell us. This is for that purpose. So before the dawn of discerning knowledge, we see the objective world through the lens of our sanskars. Sanskars means our likes, our dislikes, our hopes, our fears. We project our sanskaric coloring on worldly objects and experiences. That's why we say this is good, this is bad. But when, with the help of the Yog Sadhana, purity takes effect, we begin to see things as they really are. We begin to see the desirable and undesirable qualities of our experiences accurately. We realize that immersion in an experience is what gives us a sense of fulfillment. Objects themselves are neutral. Before this realization, there was a subject-object relationship. Every object appeared to have a consumable quality, which is called karam rupatam apannam. According to our unenlightened mind, this consumable quality is a svaroop. But when the discernment dawns, the so-called essential property of worldly objects vanishes. That's where we feel free of the cravings. So in this sense, that the world and worldly objects are said to be destroyed. No craving, no desire. So phenomenal world remains. But for a yogi, it's not even there. No interest in it. It's there, fine. If it's not there, that's fine too. So in this sutra, Rishi Patanjali is telling us the phenomenal world, which no longer serves any purpose for an accomplished yogi, continues to serve the purpose of a bhog and upwork for others. Okay, so the sansar doesn't end. Only for a yogi, it has no purpose anymore. It's just like if we have some old equipment or the objects, we don't have any need for it. We donate it. For the others, it means a lot. For a person who has donated, it doesn't mean anything. So the relationship between our core being and our mind is beginningless. The union has created a unique world for each of us. So from the standpoint of enlightened masters, we are prisoners of our unique world. That's why we are looking for the liberation, the freedom, because we are prisoners. We can extricate ourselves from this prison by using the powers which are inherent in us. Most importantly, in our own mind and the buddhi. We have to learn how to use these powers. These are the powers which came from the Prakriti. Prakriti is created by God too. This is a Maya of Ishwar. So there's a lot of power in it. So we got to learn how to use this power to get out of this bondage, this prison. And how we accomplish this is the subject of the next sutra. Svasvamishaktyoh svaroopopalabdhihetuh sanyogah. Swa means one's own. Swami means Ishwar. Shaktyoh, power, Shakti. Svaroop, one's essential nature. Upalabdhi, achievement, realization. Hetu, cause, means sanyog, union, conjunction. The union of our Shakti And the Shakti of Ishvara is the means of experiencing our essential nature. See, in verses 20 and 21, Rishi Patanjali told us that the sheer power of seeing itself is the seer. And he told us that we are that seeing power. That means we are extensions of Ishvara. At the core, we are as pure as Ishvara. But at this stage in our evolution, we are not able to experience our essential nature. We are identifying only with the upadhis, the body, mind, intellect, ego. We have no awareness of our pure and pervasive intelligence. Why? Because we are so heavily dependent on our mind. We are able to see and experience only what our mind shows us. We are able to comprehend the depth of our own being and the vastness of our phenomenal world only in proportion to the purity and intuitive ability of our mind. And the mind lies at the center of our personal world. That's why no matter where we go, mind is with us. It is the extension of the Mahat Tattva, an immense field of intelligence pulsating with creativity. The mind is designed to unveil its own essential nature, as well as the essential nature of pure consciousness. But it has lost much of its self-revealing capacity. Why? Because we have cluttered our mind with innumerable impressions, the sanskars. So in this sutra, Patanjali is telling us how to reclaim the mind's self-revealing capacity so that you can become established in your essential nature. Mind. 3 terms in this sutra are highly significant. Swashakti, Swami Shakti, and Svaroop. So the meaning of these terms appear very simple, because Swashakti means the power of our mind and the world associated with it. Swashakti. Swami Shakti means the power of Ishwar, the world associated with the Ishwar. And Svaroop means one's own essential nature. 3 things. So from this we can conclude that the meaning of the sutra is from the union of the power of our mind and the power of Ishwar, we attain the knowledge pertaining to our essential nature. But the sutra is more profound than that, more profound than the literal understanding. A yogi aspiring to attain the highest goal of life must pay close attention to the deeper meaning, not just the literal meaning. Just like when we study the Upanishads also, or the Bhagavad Gita, we look at the deeper meaning. So attaining knowledge of our essential nature, svaroopopalabdhi, and becoming established in it, svaroop pratishtha, are the reason we are born. And this manifest world contains the tools and the means we need to find the life's purpose. As a faculty of discernment, our mind is a direct extension of the self-luminous creative field of intelligence. Originally, this mind has an illuminative quality, identical to the illuminative quality of pure consciousness. But in the process of our world-bound journey, it has accumulated layers of karmic dust. And what is the result of it? Mind is not shining the way it is supposed to. So the goal of yoga sadhana is to remove the layers of the dust, so the revealing power of the mind can shine forth. In yogic literature, the mind is described as a self-shining gem. You can go back. Chapter 1, verse number 41. Rishi Patanjali said that. We studied that. Elaborating on the pristine nature of the mind and its relationship to the Supreme Being. Different rishis, different munis, they gave a lot of great stories about it. There's a beautiful composition by Adi Shankaracharya ji, Saundarya Lahiri. In that also, he talks about the mind, a gem. The mind is the palace of our core being. It is made of wish-fulfilling gems. It has the capacity to help us find life's purpose, lasting fulfillment, and freedom. This mind pulsates with the pran shakti, life force. That's why yogis, they gave us all these tools. Tools of pranayam, tools of dharana, even the hatha yoga, to keep ourselves pure. Because the innermost chamber of our mind is the home of the divinity we are seeking. That's where the anand is, the joy is intrinsic to this divinity. At its core, our mind is lit by the luminosity of divinity. Dispersing pure awareness and joy is the defining characteristics of our mind. And in yogic literature, this defining characteristics is known as buddhi sattva. Buddhi sattva is the essence of buddhi. It refers to the sattvic quality of primordial nature. Illumination is its fundamental quality. And it is the self-revealing Shakti of Ishvara in each of us. All of us are born with this buddhi sattva. So in essence, each of us is a bodhisattva. So in this sutra, Patanjali explains what is preventing us from recognizing this illuminating quality of our bodhisattva. And further, how to remove those obstacles and recognize our true nature. We'll start from here in the middle of this verse next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Visheshyate Om Shanti 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 Om.